Hi, everybody. So, we are back again with another Dispute Facts Queen exclusive video. So, today I'm going to show you guys how to do something in your Dispute Facts account to kind of, again, help you be more compliant and to help you streamline your services, right? So, for folks who don't know, back in 2024, last year, almost exactly 1 year to the day of this video that's being recorded, the FTC kind of put out this ruling that says that if we have a subscription service, that we must include a click to cancel option on our website. Okay, so what that means is if your website is set up where folks can go and sign up for services on your website, you must also have an option for folks to cancel services on your website as well. Again, this is for folks that are doing reoccurring billing, month to month billing. Okay, so not necessarily your pay per delete folks, and obviously not necessarily your folks who are charging upfront payments, right? But this is for the folks who want to remain in compliant, are doing monthly billing or pay per delete billing. You have to have a click to cancel option on your website. So today I'm going to show you how to do that in your Dispute Facts software. So today I am going to highlight one of kind of like my mentees website who happen to do have this click to cancel option on their website. All right, so I know I've talked about it kind of in the past, and I know previously I kind of did a walkthrough on one of the previous group calls, but this time I'm going to do a more detailed kind of subscription, kind of, not subscription, but more like a more detailed step-by-step play on how to set this up. Okay. So you can see here, he has the cancel my subscription option here, and then he also has it down the bottom as well as a quick link. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to click this option, right? And you can see here, once the clients will come in and they would click this cancel, this cancel your service option, it does go to a Dispute Facts web form. Okay. So when they click this Dispute Facts web form, it's going to link them to a bunch of different things that does need to be connected to AutoFax. Okay. So that was one thing I recognized when I looked at his account, is that he put it on the website. He had the web form, but it was not connected to anything, right? So I'm going to show you guys how to connect this cancel form to something in your back end in AutoFax so that you can kind of be more hands off and really fully cancel the client service. Okay. Okay. So the first thing you want to do is come over to your settings, come over to web forms, and then actually build the actual web form. Okay, so you will come over, click at new web form. It's going to open up the option for you to start a new web form, right? But here's already done, so we're just going to come in and we're going to view it. You can come in, you can set up some settings. In his case, it's not necessarily set up to anything as of yet, but let's do that in real time. So this is the redirect. So if you want this, when they hit submit, if you want it to redirect somewhere, you can. So maybe if you want to have an appointment with them, or if you want to redirect them to a different landing page, kind of like I'm sorry to see you go type of thing, or whatever the case is, you would put your landing page or whatever your redirect link is here. Okay, if you want them to be assigned to a certain person or to a certain sales representative, you would do that here. Okay. Folder, I like, and I know I said this in my Facebook group just the other day. When it comes to canceling people, I do not like to archive them. I put them in a client inactive folder, and the reason being is that if you have them in an inactive folder, they are still able to get automations and communications from you, even though they are in a client inactive folder. Okay. Moving them to the client inactive folder will move them from your active client dashboard. So you will not see them, in your active clients when you're working on clients' files. So it's like no confusion, right? Because they're going to be separate and kind of move to the side, right? So I personally like client inactive. And then we have process don't really matter. This doesn't even really matter, right? But you want to have them client inactive. And we're going to give them the status of, which is I just passed it, but I just want to scroll down and see what else he has. But we're going to give it cancel client request, right? Because they request to cancel. And these are the questions he kind of came up with. Probably pull some of these from my other video, but you can come in if you want to tweak, add whatever questions you want. It's real easy, guys. All you have to do is come in. These are the primary data questions that you want to ask, right? But anything else, if you want to have a text field, a text area, a checkbox, whatever the case is, you can have that here, right? You can have that here, all right? Oh, something I just thought about for maybe a redirect, if you're really super fancy and really into your customer service, maybe the redirect, if someone canceled, you guys could put a survey link here. So maybe you can have a survey link if you are curious, like say, hey, why you cancel? How can we improve services? If you're really interested in collecting that data, maybe you create something in Google or SurveyMonkey or whatever it is, and have that link there. So when they click to cancel, it redirects them to the survey link to pretty much say, like, how can we improve our services to you, right? All right, so now it's going to be client active. They're going to be that folder, and they're going to have that status. The status is what? Cancel client request, right? And then now we're going to come in and we're going to hit save. So now that is saved. Okay. Also, just real quick, I know I talk about this all the time as well, but if you want to put this on your website, please use option one. Option one is the easiest because any event, if you make any changes to the back end of your form, it will automatically update on the website. If you choose option three, every time you make a change on the back end, you have to take the option 3 code and put it on your website because it's the custom install. Okay. Option 2 is if you directly want to text this link to someone, which I personally don't recommend because the link is mad long, but maybe you might have it in your link tree on your social media or something, like a cancel my subscription link or whatever the case is. Okay. So now I'm going to show you how to connect this to some automations because it's one thing to have it on your website and have a web form for click to cancel, but what do you do after that? So let's talk about it. So the first thing you will need to do is come in and actually build an actual AutoFox, right? So that form can actually do something. So you just come in, add new AutoFox. Okay, so once you're in here, we're going to play around with some of the settings. So we're going to call this, maybe we'll call it or client cancel or whatever. I don't know. I always give my stuff a category. So here we'll call this systems because we're doing some internal stuff. Here are your triggers. So the first one is start condition. Do we want this to be manual or auto? We want it to be auto, right? So we want for whenever that web form is submitted, we want this AutoFox to go out. We don't want to manually come in and do anything. So we'll leave it on auto. Conditions met. It's only going to be one condition, so we'll leave it to any. But let's just say if you have an automation in AutoFox and you want it to meet certain conditions, like you want them to be a client and you want them to meet 2, 3, and 2 to 3 other conditions before something trigger, you would click all. But in this case, it's only one trigger, which is the web form. So we can leave it to any. Existing records, this is saying basically, do you want this automation to go out to other people that's in the system already if they fill out this form? The answer is yes, because you want the ability for this AutoFax to work even for your existing clients, right? That's what that means. Do you want this to work for existing clients? Yes. Reoccurring rules. That means, do you want this automation to only go out to that person one time, or can it repeat? Something like this, we could probably say repeat, because people start, stop, start, stop. Maybe they fill it out. You talk to them, you can get them to sign up again, but then maybe they want to cancel 2 months later, whatever, because they just don't have it. Whether it be financial reasons, you guys just ain't clicking with the personalities, whatever it is. So we'll have repeat. Suspension criteria is if this was something that we build out for, say, a long period of time, and we want them to continue to get this up until a certain point, you would put enable, and then you would put a stop condition. You want this automation to stop when. But in our case, we don't need a suspension criteria because it's only going to be one action step. Okay. So now that we covered those bases, the start condition is going to be the web form that was built out. Okay, so web form submitted is the start condition, and then we just come down and we select the form, cancel my subscription, right? And then we are going to move my face out the way. We're going to come down and we're going to we can make it live, right? Because there's nothing here yet. Okay, so now that is saved. Okay, so it's going to go to client or lead. The title is client canceled. You guys can call it whatever you want. Start condition is going to be automatic. Any conditions met, it could be any existing records, yes, because we want any old or new clients coming in to get this. We're going to leave it on repeat because, as you know, people can cancel every other month, right? The web form is going to be whatever you call that web form. His just happens to be, this is the title of his, but you can name your web form whatever you want, okay? Just make sure you select it and then hit save. All right, so now here's the fun part. So we're gonna say client cancel. I might call this I don't know. So I'm gonna say canceled request. Again, you guys can call this stuff whatever you want to call it. It's not an exam, okay? So he can come in here after me and change it too. So client requests, you could call it confirmation. I don't know why I can't spell. Or maybe I like to call some stuff notification. We'll do instant. Okay. So real quick about instant, because I had someone else reach out to me about this too. So even though stuff says instant or it might say delay 5 minutes, you guys have to get AutoFox time. It is not this. It is not instantaneous, right? I might say something, have a 5 or 10 minute delay, and it may take an hour to go out. All right. So if you guys are working in automations in your software and something's supposed to be triggered, number one, you can always go into the client's file, click on the AutoFox button within that file. You can see if it's been triggered. It will show you if it's triggered, but then that step one might say pending, right? That means it hasn't gone out yet. You have to give it time, at least up to an hour before you stop bothering the support team. All right, give it an hour. Definitely 2 hours. It should have gone out, assuming you set everything up correct. If it has not gone out, then reach out to support. But you have to give it time. It's not right away, okay? Even though it says it starts instantly, all right? But you can always confirm if it has gone out by going to that AutoFox tab and checking to see if you see the automation pending. If you don't see it pending, on that same AutoFox tab in the client's file, there is a button for you to go in and you can manually assign the AutoFox to them, okay? All right, so cancel client's request, boom. So something like this, and again, I'm not going to build everything out. All this is just a test, but something like this, I would, have an email first go out to the client, right? We could say, maybe we'll call it like request to, or maybe I might say, sorry to see you go, right? It's going to go to the client. Here's where you can also copy in certain people, so you have the client. Something like this, you may or may not want to copy in their affiliate, right? If they came with affiliate, so the affiliate knows that, hey, your person canceled, so don't be bothering me about them, okay? Also, what you would list here again, this is one of my automation clients, so you will see that his emails and stuff look a little bit different because he does have stuff custom to his brand colors, right? So we can probably get into that another time, right? But I like to do hi. So I don't have an email that's ready per se that I'm gonna put here, but I will most likely go right over to Chat GTP. We don't have to overthink it, guys. Get it, put in there, hey, I need an email that will go out to my client, my credit repair clients when they click to cancel their subscription on my website. Boom, bam, get an email, paste it here. So we'll call this test for right now. Okay, bam. We want to hit save. So that is an email. If you have the ability to text, okay, you could come here. You could say the same thing. So we'll say request to cancel SMS, type in whatever, right? So that means, so something like this, I won't have a long email, but I would probably say like, hey, we received your request to cancel. Please check your email for more information, right? Bam. And then you could probably come in and you could do wrong thing. You could have it come from the company, or you can have it come from whoever the assigned to person is, not company website, Lord. I would do company name. Now, please check it. And so again, so to that point, something like this with the email, you might want to have, hey, not only you might only not want to put in here like, hey, we received your request to cancel, but you might also want to put what the next steps are. So if that's closing out the file, canceling that credit mark, like whatever it is, it may be some additional steps to help them maintain whatever little bit of credit they manage to get with you. You might want to also include that all in here as well, right? Make it a nice little email, boom, invite them back, when they're ready to finish that journey, whatever it is. You guys then bought stuff and then cancel subscriptions. So the type of feel the email should have, right? Bam. So this is the SMS. I am going to come right over here and I'm going to copy this. I'm going to do it in the app, because one thing about my people who I work with, they know if it's an SMS, it needs to be an ad message, right? Because we need to have ads. Because why not? So cancel request received. So we'll just call this app. Now this has been a little funky lately. So I'm going to save this, but it's been acting a little bit weird. When you save stuff, it redirects. So let's see. I'm going to save it. Oh, it actually did make me out to be a liar today. Okay. Before it was doing something like really weird and it would like redirect you somewhere and I have to back out. So shout out to the Speed Fox for fixing that, because I was supposed to have been complaining about that and I never did. All right. So that's this. Now, so right here, this is all client communication, right? This is all client communication. Okay. So now we're going to get to internal communication. So what are some internal things that you could do? So some internal things that I would do is I would create an email that would go out to staff, right? Have an email. I will also create a task reminder, right? A task to say, hey, this person canceled, you need to do X, Y, and Z. Then we're going to also shut off portal access for them. All right. So, bam. Now, I have my own email template that my people know that I use. So, my email template that I use do not look like this if I'm sending internal emails to staff or teams, right? But we will just come in and say task. Look, you see, I got all these. So I know I'm not lying. As soon as I start, you see all these different task emails that pop up. And the reason why I do task emails as well as have stuff pop up in your task bar, I recommend that you do that because if you're someone like me who's not in the software every day, it's like who wants to go back to the inbox and be like, okay, what I'm supposed to be doing today, right? Me personally, I prefer to come in, look at my task toolbar, and then see all of the tasks listed out by date order on what I'm supposed to be doing. Particularly, say if someone cancel on a weekend, and I don't work weekends, so I will see you on Monday, right? So that type of situation. Okay, so we can say task. So we're gonna say client cancel. Again, y'all, I can't spell. Task client canceled. When it comes to I might, so if something internal, I might use the dispute fox one email, no reply. Again, if it's here, again, this is not going to go to client, right? But you could put this if you have separate, or maybe you have a VA email address or whatever you want to go here. But for the most part, something like this, maybe we can send it to assign to, and maybe the sales rep, or you can do company email, whatever the case may be, right? So we'll do all three. Right? We'll do all three. And again, this is going to be different because this is not my template, but if you are going to send this out, normally if it's someone canceled, maybe you want your sales rep to handle that follow up to be like, hey, why you canceled? Um, and leave your dispute people to do your actual disputes. That's probably what I would do. But let's just say whatever you do, you need to come in and you need to change the name, okay? Because for you guys, you're going to be working from scratch with this. You don't have a template, right? So you make sure you come in and you change it, right? Because otherwise, where it says first name, that's going to be the client's name. So we'll say hi, ba ba ba. We'll say client. Now this is going to trigger, so we can say client, comma. You can put the client name first, last name, right? Has requested to cancel service, right? And then we could say like maybe please reach out to them to confirm and close out their file if needed, right? Just something straight to the point, right? Again, you can elaborate whatever other steps you want to include in here. You definitely can, or you can make this email to your team be as detailed or however it is you want. Okay. So bam, you're gonna hit save. You saw I just copy that because literally my task is just copy paste from what about that be instant? My task literally just copy paste. Right, my task is copy paste. So client has now here you can't include the names in there, but it'll still pop up on the task who it is assigned to. So we'll say client cancel. Client canceled. Right. So bam, now they're gonna get an email, they're gonna get a task to say, hey, they canceled, do what you need to do. Then because they canceled, maybe we'll wait, right? Because if they have the app, you don't want us, and they talking to you in the app, you might don't want to be petty, and you might don't want to shut off portal access just yet, right? So maybe we'll come here and we'll say close portal access. We'll do after previous step. We'll do days. Maybe give them 3 days. Let them get that stuff together first. Give them 3 days. So you guys will give you enough time to talk back and forth, make connection with them over the app. Give them 3 days to think about it. And then maybe you can come in and then we can shut off portal access, right? And we'll just call it client cancel, right? So you don't, if you hit this button, that means you're turning it on, right? But you hit this to turn it off. So client cancel, now that portal access is off, right? Portal access is off, okay? Now, again, as I started out, I said, I don't like to cancel anybody with false communication unless they reach out to me and say, hey, stop bothering me. All right. So if you are one of the SpeedFox users, who are kind of taking my lead a little bit with just strictly using the SpeedFox to pretty much do all you can in a software without using a third party, then you can also have this be, you can also connect this cancel to a lead campaign. Because if you've been following me, you know that I said that not only can you nurture your leads in here and you can do your clients in here and you can also do your affiliate nurturing campaign in here as well. You don't technically need a third party to necessarily nurture your leads, right? Especially if you already have them in here. No need to worry about, okay, they cancel, but I'm gonna still nurture them. No need to try to like take them and like move them somewhere else. You can nurture them right here. So this person, again, they already had a lead campaign already built out. So I'm going to say start lead campaign. I'm going to say after previous step, I'm going to do days. I like to do 180. 180 just sounds good to me. I do 180. You can also do 120, right? You can also do 120, but I still like 180 to start the lead campaign, right? So that like it kind of gives you a little bit of time, so you're not necessarily like just bothering them again after they already canceled. So your lead campaign is not. It should not necessarily sound really spammy, and it's not necessarily making them book a consultation, but the lead campaign is just like educational content about that credit or whatever the case may be, right? So again, you can always come in and change it. You can do 180, you can do 120 days. It's up to you, right? So maybe for people that can't, maybe we'll do 120. Maybe it'll say 120, right? So this says start lead campaign. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to now connect this to their existing lead nurturing campaign in the system. And how I would do that is because I already know the triggers. I'm going to come in. What I'm looking for? Oh, so here's to before I do that. If you have, if you did want to come in here and do the same thing, and you wanted to connect, like move them over to somewhere else or whatever, you do have the ability to do the API connection. All right. But if you have something built out in here, you don't have to do that. So we'll come in. I'll say start lead nurturing campaign. Right. So at this point, mind you, for the last 180 days, ooh, that's what I didn't do. Let's back up. So we did this. We moved them. So here is where we did the client cancel, right? Portal access after 3 days. I'm sorry. So I skipped a step, y'all. So mind you, here, they were still in the active client folder, right? They requested to cancel, blase, blase, blase. Then eventually you shut off portal access. Here, we're going to also, I forgot to do this. So we got to move them to the client active folder, right? So client canceled. So we'll have folder, client canceled, and then we'll still do status. Actually, technically, because I'm gonna still show you both ways. Technically, and because some of y'all might forget to change it, I like to include it here just in case. Um, so when you're building a web form, the web form does give you the option to have the folder and a status as y'all saw, right? But just in case the web form fails or something else happens, sometimes I do come in and I set the statuses here too, just in case, because you can never be too sure, right? If they come in and they already have this, that's great. The system is not going to like break or something because it's like, oh, it's saying move them to client canceled, um, client canceled or whatever, but they're already canceled, right? So you can still have the option to do that. You also could come in right here and you have a folder. You can also come in and then move them right to client and active, right? And I'm going to show you guys on the dashboard what that looks like. So you do have the option to do that, right? But actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually delete this so that way it's not like making extra work. So whatever they are on the web form, we'll leave it here. 9 times out of 10, if you make contact with them within the 3 days, maybe you can get them to re-sign up again because maybe the issue is billing or whatever it is, right? So since we're not going to close off portal access, let's say until day 3, or maybe you give them 2 days or whatever, because I don't recommend shutting off the portal access the same day, because if you do that and you're trying to talk to them on the app, they should not anyway be able to communicate back with you on the app, because in order to log in and talk to you on the app, they have to have active portal access, right? That's why I'm saying, hey, give them a couple of days so you or your team or someone can communicate with them via the app, okay? So maybe on day 3 is when we come in and okay, they still saying um they don't want to restart services, okay? So then you don't have to worry about coming here and doing this. So then we can come in, move them to client and active folder, and then status just reconfirm that they are canceled with client, canceled due to client requests, right? So we'll have that there. I actually like that better. Then to start the lead campaign, you have to have your own lead campaign built out. And in order to add the steps, you have to not only have your lead campaign built out, but you also need to know the start triggers for the lead campaign. All right. So here we'll say start lead campaign after, I think I put it at 120 days. So the first thing will be this person needs to not the first thing is one, they need to be a lead. So after 120 days, you're going to reconvert them back to a lead. Okay, they're going to go into a folder, which is the lead active folder, and then they're going to have the status active. These 3 things alone, anytime lead meets this in the system, it's going to automatically start the lead campaign, right? And for folks who have kind of come to me for help or assistance with the automations, you guys know that I built out a lead campaign that is 12 months long. In the future, it will be longer. It'll probably be up to like 2 years or whatever, but right now it's 12 months long. So they'll come in, recap, they'll get this the cancel email saying, hey, we got your request, da 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 da. They'll get a text, an email, a text, a message. You guys will get an email to whoever your sales team is or to the company lead, whoever it is. You guys will get an email internally letting you know this person canceled. You'll also get a task note that will pop up over here on your toolbar, letting you know that the person canceled. All right, again, it's good to have both, because if you're not in a system at the moment when they cancel and you miss the email, then you'll get it here. It's like a double whammy so you don't forget. All right. So we can say maybe 2 to 3 days later, if they're non-responsive and they still want to cancel, the system will go ahead and close them out by shutting off portal access. The system will also move them over to client cancel and active folder. All right. And then 120 days later, or 180, right? But at minimum 120, because you want to give it some space. go ahead. If you have a lead nurturing campaign built in, you can go ahead and start your lead nurturing campaign. All right. One thing I also want to put here with this task, when I say please reach out to them and close out their file if needed. One thing I want to point out here is that you still need to stop/pause their billing. Okay. As of right now, even when we shut off portal access and we cancel, that does not do anything to that billing. You still need to manually close off the billing, okay? So make sure you do that. Otherwise, even if portal access is shut off, that does not mean nothing. The following month on that due date, unless you suspend that billing in the system will continue to bill them if you have them on the monthly reoccurring charge. Okay, so please, 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 please make sure you pause that billing. And again, this is why it's important to have these different tasks and emails and things going out, because it will help to remind you of these little nuances that you may forget when you're working on the fly. Okay, you literally want to use the SpeedFax and AutoFox. You want to use your AutoFox to assist you in building out your SOPs and all the things that you do and don't do when you are working on a client's file. Okay, it's imperative. All right, so that is pretty much it. So the one thing before we go, though, that I wanted to kind of show you is on the main dashboard. So here, if you had all clients, all your active clients and stuff would be between these two balls, right? When we build out a system and we moving them over to the inactive folder, if you want to see them, this is where you would have to come and see them. All right, you would have to come see them here, not in archive. You would have to come see them here in inactive. And again, me personally, I don't archive anybody unless they, one, definitely reached out to me and said, hey, stop contacting me, or two, I made a mistake and it's a duplicate account. I need to delete it. Whatever the case is, then I will go ahead and archive them and then delete. But for the most part, people are here. They're in inactive folder for a moment. And then eventually they are filtered back into my lead system. All right. So that's all I have for you guys. I hope this was helpful. Let me know what you think in the comments, and I will see you guys around in the group. You know where to find me. Bye.